Long Haul Larry. We're out at the ADL shop. We're kind of on a pit stop in the middle of a load, and we are needing to work on the Bossman Dad's truck. I need to, you guys have seen me, I put all this back together. The other mechanic, he put the fuel pump in, and then I came back through afterwards and put all the other stuff on. Fired it up, and it didn't run that good. Did some research into it. The other mechanic, he didn't time it. He didn't time the fuel pump, and I guess that's the cause of the problem. So now it's all got to be ripped back apart, and the fuel pump has to be pulled back out, set up for it has to be timed, and then reinstalled. So that's what my project is for now. You guys pretty much have seen this. I got to pull out the fuel filter assembly, I got to pull all the fuel lines off, and then the fuel pump is back there. And that hell has to be pulled off of there. So the first thing I gotta do is drain the coolant, and that's what I'm doing now. And you can hear it down there, it's all draining into the coolant bucket. The second thing that I gotta do is I need to get the engine at top dead center for number 1. So I'm going to be pulling off all the stuff. I got to pull the valve cover off, and then I got to get my engine bar thing out, spin that over, get to number 1, top dead center, the timing mark, and put in the timing pin, and get to top dead center 1. And then I'll start tearing apart all the fuel lines and pull the filter assembly out of here. Alright guys, we have our valve cover pulled off so that we can see where we're at with top dead center. And I'm actually, it's going to give me a chance to check the valves when I got it up there. I'm going to check a number, let's see how much it is out. Because this engine does have a little ticking noise to it. The boss says it was just done. I don't trust it. Alright guys, we got her all barred all the way over. We got top dead 1 and 6 again. But now this time, we're on this truck. And this motor it has a tinging noise to it, and the boss said, sorry about the movement there, the boss said that he just had the valves done, and you can see somebody's axed it, meaning that they have done this one, whatever. But I took a feeler gauge, this is a 6mm, and see how loose that is? That one's really loose. And then this one, I can't even, I can only get it like a bit. So these are not adjusted right. And then the intake ones, see, it's the same thing. This one's, it's loose, okay? It's looser than what I would have said it. And this one here, that's all the further, there we go, I got it pushed in there. But I mean, that's way too tight. You can't even move it. So both of these are too tight. The intake and the exhaust on both of these, and these need to be together. These are too tight. These, you can't even get the feeler gauges in them, and these are loose. So I don't know, I'm going to try to get this done. I guess the boss's dad wants this truck in the morning. I'm going to try to get all this pulled out and stuff, but if I can get all that done, then I'm going to come up here and give it a valve adjustment too. So I'm going to get to working, just pulling all that apart over there now. So I'm just going to get to working, guys. You need to have a top dead center in 1. The reason why is when you pull the fuel pump out, the gear has a back plate on it, and on the back plate it has a flat spot that's supposed to get by the gear that's inside on the back of the engine. And if you're at top dead center, it should just slide right out. The problem is, I know the other mechanic put it in there and didn't time it right, so I have no idea which way that back plate is. So maybe I'll booger to get out of there, but then I'll get it out of there and then I'll bring you guys back. You guys see me pull all this stuff off. I basically just got to take this coolant line, take all the fuel lines off, pull the fuel filter assembly, all the fuel lines, and we're actually changing all the injector lines. This one here is leaking. I can't get this one to stop leaking. So I said that to the boss, and he was like, you know what, this is my dad's truck. He goes, I'm just going to buy all new ones. So he bought all new injector lines, and I'm going to put all new injector lines on this. So I'm going to put all brand new injector lines on here, and I got to pull all this apart, get that fuel pump out of there, see what I can get done here. I got a list on this truck. I got to see if I can get this done here tonight. Well, you guys have seen me pull the fuel filter assembly out, so you guys see me pull that out just a couple videos ago. Got that all out. There is the fuel filter. This is where I started the last time, but it's pretty easy to get this out. You got your two main lines up here that go to your fuel rail. You just pull those two lines off. Those are brand new lines we just put on the last time. And then there is a fuel line right over here on the back side that there has a bolt through there. And it's one of those banjo bolts, and it's got a couple washers on each side. And you pull that off, pull that line off of there. And there's a couple wire harness plugs. I've already unplugged them. They're just kind of hanging there. And then there's two bolts back there. And then there's two bigger bolts in the block. And then there's a metal bracket there that has two 13mm bolts that go into the fuel pump. So you pull all that, and the fuel pump will just slide out. Now, I'm not sure, because I know he didn't time it. And right now it is timed to where it should slide out, but it's probably not going to. So it's going to be a real pain in the butt to get it out, but I'll get it out. I may have to sit there and rotate the engine in here and there and wiggle it, but I'll get it out there. So, alright, right here it is. And you can see where this other mechanic guy was putting it in. He damaged all this right here. Boogered all this up. I don't think it's going to matter at all. I think it's going to be fine. There is some irregular wear on this gear right here. A couple teeth. I think that he was kind of trying to wedge that in there. I think it's going to be fine. I think what I'm going to do is just take some memory cloth and clean that gear up so there's no burr on it. But just to show you guys how to time this, so you want the engine to be at number 1, top dead center. And then if you can see it, I don't know how good you're going to see it because the light, sometimes my flashlight kind of makes a big glare. But there is a mark right here at the end of my finger. And you can see that mark right there. And then on the faceplate here, there is this and there's this line. And this line needs to be straight up with that. And that puts this fuel pump in time. Okay, and with the engine top dead center, you'll be able to just slip it right in. So I got to do that. I got to put the camera down and stuff. I didn't bring my hat in here, so, and I don't really have time to set up tripods and stuff. So I got a socket out here. I don't have a millimeter one that fits it, but an 1 3/8 fits on there. Pretty good. It'll fit on there good enough, I think. I haven't tried to turn it over yet, but yeah, I'm gonna have to hold everything. So I gotta put the camera down. So I'm gonna have to do that and turn this over, get those marks lined up, and then I can slip it back in and install it. Alright guys, we got the fuel pump all set up in there. And now that it's time to correct, it just slid right in there. The other mechanic, he was having such an issue. I mean, it was hours of him messing with this. And he was just grunting, and I'd ask him, everything okay? I just gotta take a break. And he would sit over in the corner hitting on his little vape thing. But he was having such an issue with it. Yeah, if you just time it right, it just slides right in. But I thought I would show you guys a little trick, because there's 4 bolts on there. See, there's 2 on this side, and there's actually 2 on the back. You cannot get to those bolts. You cannot reach behind there and put those bolts in there. So the only way that you can do that, to get these bolts in, is basically to put the bolt in a long extension and feed it in there. But then what happens a lot of times is you'll put the bolt in there, and you'll slip it in there, and the bolt will fall out. And if the bolt goes down in there, you're going to have issues. So I can show you a little trick that you can keep the bolts from doing this. I use this for starters and stuff too. So I just have an extension here. This is the bolt. And you just put it in there, right? Well, boom, falls out. Okay? So you got to feed this thing. It's going back this far. And you got to feed it in between there, and there's things sticking out, and it bumps it, you know, and it moves around, and it falls, and it goes down. And then you basically got to pull it all the way back out and start all over. So what you do, tear off a little piece of paper towel. A little chunk of paper toweling. And just put it around the head of the bolt. And then push it in there. Oops. Extension. There. Now you've created a wedge. Okay? Make sure there's no paper toweling that sticks out past. Because if it is, it's going to get stuck in between there. And it's not going to, you know, tighten up good and stuff. You're going to have a piece of paper towel hanging out there. But it's not the end of the world. But just make sure it's not hanging out. But guess what? See? So now I can just reach that back behind there. It don't matter if something bumps it. It's not falling out. And I can spin it in there. And once I get it all the way put in there, then I just rock this back and forth. Keep rocking it back and forth. And you'll feel it come off of there. Because if you just pull straight off, you're going to get your socket stuck. So you just tip this back and forth until it'll come off the paper towel. And you'll be able to pull it right back out with the socket. I do this all the time. So if you got to feed a bolt for a long place where you can't get your hands or fingers, there you go. Here's a little trick for you guys. Alright guys, we got this all back together. We got everything all plumbed up, everything's all back together. I actually ended up putting all new injector lines in. Put all those, everything is brand new. Number 5 was leaking on me. I tried resealing a couple times, it just wouldn't stop leaking. So the boss, he bought some extra, he bought a whole set, and he was just like, just put a whole new set on there. That's my dad's truck. I don't want him calling me in the middle of the night. And then tonight he was here, and he's like, so you're just going to replace that one injector line, right? I'm like, oh no, I'm replacing all 5 because I don't want to hear from you that you got a phone call from your dad. And he just laughed. But we got all the new injector lines on. We got everything all hooked up. We got some diesel in here. And this is your water separator. And I also did a valve adjustment on this truck. It was really bad, guys. Really bad. I went through and checked them and stuff. I don't know who did this or what. The boss said it was just done. But one injector would be loose, and the other injector, I couldn't even, the other valve right next to it, I couldn't even get the feeler gauge into it. The same valve. So, this thing had a bad ticking noise to it, so I'm hoping that takes care of it. But I did a whole valve adjustment and exhaust brakes and everything. So that's all set. So we are ready to fire this truck up. So now that we're ready to fire this truck up, I had this fuel system all tore apart. And I have dumped fuel into there. And the way that you can start these, like with the black truck, what I ended up doing, there's a proper way and then there's a way. Okay? And what I ended up doing is, this right here is a hand primer. When you do a service and you change your filters and everything, your fuel filter is in here. And when you change your fuel filter and stuff, you fill this full of fuel, you put your filter in there, full of fuel, put the top on there, fill the water separator with fuel, and then you grab this here, and you turn it like this to unlock it, and then you start pumping. And you pump this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, okay? And it starts up, and you turn it over and over and over, and blah, 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 you know, and it's not the right way to actually do this. There is a better way, and I've talked to the boss about it, and he wasn't into it. This was fine. Your long haul Larry, you can figure it out. Well, the other mechanic that was here actually talked to him and said something to him, and then he was going to order something. And at the same time, I was here last week with the black truck doing this, and I thought, you know, maybe there's somebody on YouTube that actually thought of something and came up with something. Because, guys, I've heard that the actual pump from Freightliner is like $3 grand to prime this thing with fuel. And I mean, I haven't seen it, but that's what I heard. And that's crazy. But what happens is, this down here is actually a priming port. This little cap comes off here, and it's right here. It's right here. Get out of the light. and it's kind of like a air chuck for a hose, for an air fitting or something, for an air gun. And he went online and looked. The other mechanic told him, he said he found something, and he looked at it, and it was I had found something that morning on YouTube, and I showed it to the boss, and he was like, yeah, okay, we can do that. And then the other mechanic came in, he showed him what he found when he showed up and said, why don't you order this? And it was like a little hand pump thing. And I came in, he's like, oh, I'm going to order this. And I'm like, whatever, you do whatever you want, just whatever. And I showed up here this week to do this and change this fuel pump around and everything. And he didn't order it. He said that it was just a little hand pump. And he said that would take forever to build up pressure to do it. And he said, and the other thing is, it did not come with the fitting that goes on there. So you have to buy that separate, he said. And that was $80 for that little fitting. And he said also the shipping was also $80, and it wouldn't be here by this time. He said it would take like 2 or 3 weeks or something, they said. So he said, do it your way. So guess what we've done? We went to Harbor Freight. I know you guys will love this. Went to Harbor Freight. I saw a video online, and I'm going to look up and see if I can figure I got his page. I'm going to give this guy his credit because this is not my idea. I saw this last week. I was actually I was done with the black truck, and I was getting ready to prime it, and I was like, there's got to be an easier way to prime this thing. And I thought maybe somebody's got something on YouTube, and I went on there and I saw this guy, and he made this, and his name of his channel is Carlos Diesel Electric. That's Carlos Diesel Electric, and he is the one that gets the credit for this. Okay, so basically what it is a 110-pound pressurized abrasive blaster. So it's a sandblaster. Okay, that's what it is. It's a sandblaster. And what he has done, show you right here, is he shows it on his video, is he pours clean diesel into it, and you hook up an air to it, and you pump it up to about 100 psi, put about 100 pounds of pressure into that thing, you hook it up to that deal, you open the valve, and you get in the truck, and you start it. And it fires right up. He showed it in a video. So, we're going to see if it works. So now, I have rigged up this. Okay? I told the boss, because I would rather have a hose that actually has a screw-in connector on it and everything else, and that's why I told him, but it was Saturday and everything else, and now it's the middle of the night. I told him, and I had to take a nap today, so he ran around and tried to figure this out and stuff. And what he did is he was able to get this threaded connector deal that goes in here, and it's got like barbs on it. It goes into the hose, and then it's got the hose clamp that goes onto it. And this is an air fitting. That's what this is. It's not the same size we use at the shop. This one's a little smaller one. But it's an air fitting. And I kind of actually like this, because I rigged this up with some fittings that I had around here. And this is the fitting that you have to buy. It's a J number. You can just Google this. It's real easy to find and everything. This is Google DD15 primer adapter. And this is what it'll come up with. It's a J-22 number or something like that. And it kind of looks like an air chuck or something like that, but it's not. It's a little different. It's got a big flat barb thing in here that pushes against it. But it works kind of the same way. This thing goes back and forth. So this here will go in just like an air fitting. I got a 90-degree on there because it can't fit with the steering arm. I will push this onto the here, and I will close this here valve. Then I'll air up the tank, get it up to 100 psi in the tank for 100 pounds of pressure. Have this hooked up to the truck, and then I'll open this valve. And that air pressure in the tank will push all the diesel up through the filter system, up through the pump, up through the high valves. It'll push it through the high valves, all up through and up through the fuel rail and everything. It will prime the whole fuel system in this truck. And that's what we want. We don't want this thing starting dry. But here's the real cool thing about this. My boss came up with this little contraption here with an air fitting. And I think he thought I was going to pick on him. Because he did come back later. He was like, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it'll work good. Because I siphon diesel out of my truck for using in the shop here. And I got 15 gallons into this tank. There's 15 gallons in it and it's not full. So that'll last a long time. So I'm thinking when you're not using this to prime a Freightliner, whatever, then you could put this here fitting. I need to get another valve, another on-off valve, but put something like this with an on-off valve, and then when you change filters on the Volvo or Kenworth or whatever, and you change the water separator filter, or you're changing a fuel filter, you need to fill the fuel filter before you put it on. You just put 20-30 pounds of pressure into the tank here, just have this sit against the wall, and you just go over and you just put this into the fuel water separator, turn the valve, pump it in there instead of sitting there holding a can and trying to pour it in and everything, spilling all over the place. I'll make this better. I'll put a little valve on there and stuff, but I mean, it's pretty simple. So this would be multi-purpose. It'd be a shop. It'd be to fill all the filters and stuff. So we're going to give this a try. Now here's the scary thing. I haven't even put air to this thing. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is like a big no-no to try something for the first time on YouTube, but we're going to try. First I'm going to move my light because we're going to be firing this truck up. So I'll move the light back here a little bit. And so this valve, I'm really leery about this. It just goes up in here and it sits over that priming port and you just push it on there. Alright, now I got the valve closed up there. Now I'm going to be doing this kind of fast, so I'm not going to be talking because I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I'm kind of scared about this. And I'm going to tell you guys, I did not fill the fuel filter assembly. Reason why, I can't find the socket that opens it out. I have no idea where it is. The other mechanics in here, he keeps saying, oh, this is in the wrong place, or that's in the wrong place. I'm like, just, that's where it goes. Just put it there, you know? And I don't know. I have searched everywhere. I can't find that socket that goes on there. I cannot find it. So this is going to push fuel all through there anyway, so this should be fine. I got the fuel water separator. I got that full of fuel, so we're going to see what happens here. I'm really leery about this. Alright, so let's hook our airline. And what I did is I put a mark on the gauge here because I'm old and I can't see these little tiny numbers, but I put it right on there for 100. So we're going to put some air into this thing and see what happens. Okay, it's leaking. So it's working. The boss put this together. He put that connector on there. I'm going to have to take this back apart. Alright guys, I'm not sure this is going to work either. It's the best I can do right now. What I would like to find is one of these I can get in the future. He bought this one and it has that little barb on there. That barb is way too small for this hose. If I could get another one of these connectors that doesn't have the barb on there, you could screw in. I could screw in a piece of pipe. And I think the 1/4 inch piece of pipe would actually be about the right size to go inside there. Let's put some air on it and see what happens. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, that's scary. Okay, because you saw what I did. I wrapped electrical tape up in there to take some room. This hose is hard. Still need to put some more pressure in it. Got it hooked up. If that thing blows off there, it's going to make such a mess. Okay. Okay, I got 100 pounds of pressure in there. Okay? So I'm going to open that valve, and I should hear diesel flowing up through there. Oh yeah. I can actually hear the diesel going into the tanks back there. Okay, we're going to start this truck. I didn't fill. This can't be good. This might be getting empty. Let's try it again. Go! Wow. I probably should have wore the sandblasting hood for that one. Woohoo! That thing blew, huh? Man, that thing shot probably, I would say probably 5 to 7 gallons of diesel. It was like a fire hose going on. I mean, that thing was just everywhere. And then luckily enough, I just turned it, you know. And man, that thing went. That was powerful. It shot diesel all the way across the shop. I told the boss he was here tonight. He came in here and he looked around. He's like, "Oh wow, what's going on here?" And I told him what happened. I even showed him the video. He just laughed. But I shot diesel all the way across the shop. I mean, it was everywhere. It flew out when it hit the ground. It flew, I'd say probably 20 feet. It shot across the shop. It was crazy. But I did get the truck running. Kind of after that, I was kind of running around frantically, and his dad wanted to get going. I did get the truck running. The issue with the fuel pump seems to be fine. That's not whining anymore and stuff, but it's still losing prime. And the fuel separator, it does this weird bubbling thing and stuff. I thought then maybe the check valve, maybe it's got something stuck in the check valve or something and it's backfeeding. I pulled the check valve out, it was fine. I cleaned it up, put it back in there, and I filled up the fuel water separator and left the hose off just to see if the fuel would flow back out of that check valve. It doesn't, so the check valve's fine. There's something else going on too. I don't know. I got a buddy, I know a guy who, he's pretty good at this stuff. He might know what's going on, so I'm going to give him a call tomorrow and let him know exactly what's going on, what's all happening with it and stuff, and maybe he can give me a better idea where to go and stuff. Boss man dad was gonna take the truck, and I took off to run to the yard and meet him over there, and I was gonna switch out trucks for him and meet him over there and stuff. And on the way over there, it came up with an engine code, and then it went to a 25% D rate, and it was saying that number 3 was misfiring, and we looked up the code. And it was saying something about maybe an injector line or this or that. And I just put all those brand new injector lines on there. So got to figure that out. I don't know what's going on with that, with the injector line and stuff. It's a brand new injector line. I don't have the time to mess with it. I'm on a load. I have to go. I have to run to New Jersey. But I pulled Big Blue into the shop here. Boy, Big Blue is dirty. Look at all this. You just touch it. And I mean, from running out here, the salt was just, whew, it was crazy. But I just had a couple little things that I wanted to do on Big Blue quick, so I pulled Big Blue into the shop. I spent a bunch of time scrubbing this shop, but it smells like diesel really bad in here. And I told the boss, well, now you really got a diesel shop. So I had an epic fail there. I have those. But I talked to the boss about it and showed him and stuff, and he was like, we'll get a different fitting. I told him, I said, you know what, when I get back out here, just leave it alone. I'm going to change the fitting on the bottom of the tank. I think that's going to work really well. But I'm going to change the fitting on the bottom of the tank, get that sandblasting siphon thing off of there, just put an elbow with some threads, and then I'm going to go and have a high pressure hose made with permanent threaded ends on it, so that never happens again. That was epic. And so that's what I'm going to do and make sure it's good to go. I think it's a great idea. Saves a lot of money and stuff, but yeah, putting some hose clamps on there, that's just too much pressure. So, and the guy, that video that I got it off of, you can see that's what he did. He had a hose made up and everything. Yeah, don't try that at home, ladies and germs. That was a blast. But not having the greatest day. I also had another fail. I'll show you guys a picture right here. If you remember when I was at Tracy's house, those pancakes sure were expensive video. I helped her put her snowblower together and all this stuff, and a belt, and helped her put chains on there. And we had a little contest on putting the chains on there, a professional truck driver against the data analyzer, and she put on one side, I put on the other, and she actually won. She put hers on faster, but she was snowblowing today. She sent me a picture. She goes, do you see anything wrong with this? Said she was sitting out in the driveway snowblowing, and she started spinning and spinning, and she was like, what in the world? She looked down, and the tires are spinning. Looked down, my chain fell off. Hers is still on. So she goes, yeah, you need to put that on YouTube and show that. Long haul Larry failed. And I said, you know, I've had another failure today. So not a good day for long haul Larry. So I got to get cleaned up, get my work clothes off, and get all cleaned up and get out of here. I got to head to New Jersey and get up there and get me some sleep tonight, and get up there and unload. And then I will be loading tomorrow in Pennsylvania, and I'm heading from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And that will be unloading on Wednesday morning, and then I'm off to the UP. And my birthday's coming up, and I always go off and do a little trip for my birthday, and I'm going up there, and not sure if my brother's coming or not. He may be going to Wyoming, he said, snowmobiling, but maybe, I don't know. Not sure now when yet, if he might be coming up with a friend. But my kids are coming up, and Tracy's going to be up there, and we might have like a barbecue and a little party at the house and stuff, and maybe invite a few of the neighbors there and stuff, and introduce ourselves, and welcome to the neighborhood type thing. And we're going to go up there, and I'm probably going to work on the fair house, and I'm going to probably do some work for a couple days, but I'm also going to take a couple days to just relax. I need it. And after all that work up there in the COVID, and I've been out here and getting this truck going, it's just, I've been frantic, and I just need some time off, and maybe jump on a snow bike or a snowmobile and go have some fun too. So I'll bring you guys along with that, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to see that stuff, you need to go and subscribe to the Drunk Carpenter. He's my son-in-law. Look it up on YouTube. Drunk Carpenter. He's got his own YouTube channel he started. Trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers. He gets to 1,000 subscribers, he's going to do a live video up there at the house with all of us up there, and you guys will get to see all that. But you got to get him over 1,000 subscribers, or otherwise he can't do a live video. You got to have 1,000 subscribers to do live videos. So he's working his way up there, but I need you guys' help. So go on over there and subscribe to him if you would. So I'm going to let you guys go. I hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day, great night. So watching this here video. If you're not, we certainly try that all over again. I need to try it all over again. Woo, that was a blast. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.